Hello and welcome back to Season 7 of everyone's favourite fantasy football cup show. Yes, it's the
James and Sons theme song. 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 The James and Sons theme song. James and Sons theme song. James and Sons theme song. James and Sons theme song.
We've gathered together 30 of the world's finest FPL managers.
Some of them new and the rest of us are old now.
Split them up into 3 different leagues
Where they will all compete.
for the chance to win the greatest prize in fantasy football.
Each manager was challenged to our classic neck a pint challenge.
Where all they have to do is neck a pint.
The manager who necks their pint the fastest will be placed into pot A.
Go!
This process will continue until all of the pots are filled.
Each team will then play every team in their pot once through game weeks 9 to 13. Teams who end the group stage in first or second will automatically go through to the round of 16.
And now it's finally time for the cup draw, and therefore time to see what it looks like when 30 people neck a pint, all at the same time.
5, 4, 3,
United.
2, 1.
And we're off, the 2024 James & Sons Pint Necking Challenge. Immediately our 3 favourites, Callum, Rick and Fudge, competing for first place.
And it looks like Callum takes it this time. Milliseconds between them.
Okay, that's me, and then Lewin, Auden, Willis.
Kish is gone.
Bartlett's gone.
10 people gone already.
Special shout out to Chris, who's drinking every single shot. Okay, we're down to about halfway, half the board is gone. Got a lot of newcomers all still on the board. Jav, Jake, Harp's not having a good time on the left. Jav, newcomer down the bottom right, that glass is massive. George still getting through, drinking underwater. Jamal right in the middle, next to Chris, who's drinking shot by shot. Harps looks like he's freestyling for a minute. Jake not having a good time. Norman's done. Okay, how has Norman beat half of these people? Okay, George, Harps, Jav, Jake, Chris and Vlad. George is done.
Harps is about to finish.
Yeah,
and
George
Harps is out.
Chris is actually nearly done. Look at him go. Okay, okay, Jake, we're down to the final 3.
Final 3.
Okay,
Oh, and now it is just Vlad.
The final
He's still
stretch.
got
Can he
those-
do it?
Come on, Vlad.
Speed this up
We
so it gets a
believe
bit
in
better.
you, Vlad.
Come on, Vlad. You can do it. I'm
finish
ready.
it,
I'm champion.
Vlad.
Yes, Vlad.
Yet another chaotic pint challenge. Thanks to everyone for taking part once again.
If you've been playing with us since the beginning, then we've made you do that way too many times, and for that we can only apologise.
Either way, let's go find out the pots for the James & Sons Cup group stage.
Finishing first and heading into pot A,
Goes!
it's Callum and his Caliente Royales. They somehow managed to drink their pint in only 5.22 seconds, claiming their first pint challenge win.
Coming second and going into pot
Boo!
B, it's Rick, and he drank his pint in 5.28 seconds, only 0.4 milliseconds behind Callum.
Finishing third and going into pot C,
Senor!
it's Fudge with his League B rebranded team, Kai Hard with a Vengeance. He drank his pint in 5.46 seconds.
Firstly, fuck you, Luke.
Going into pot D, Billy and the Billionaire Ballers. He drank his pint in 7.44 seconds. Going into pot E,
Mouth!
it's last season's Premier League winners, Luke and United, who set a new PB, 8.38 seconds.
Taking the first spot in F,
Pot Fitzgerald,
it's Lewis and their new and improved Solanke Lose. They drank their Guinness in 9.22 seconds.
joining Callum in pot A,
Toes!
is the 2023 Cup champion Jordan and his Golden Bulls. He drank his pint in 9.24 seconds.
Going into pot
Boo!
B is and McSauce. They drank their pint in 10.08 seconds.
Next up and going into pot C,
Senor!
is September Manager of the Month Kish and his Fart Factory FC. He drank his pint in 10.12 seconds.
Finding themselves in pot D is the 2-time league winner Bartlett and the Party. This veteran of the game drank his pint in 11.18 seconds.
Heading into pot E,
Mouth!
is our first Haaland owner, Ben and the All Bens. His pint time was bang on 13 seconds.
In 12th place and heading into F,
Pot Fitzgerald,
it's Andre with Can I Poro Feeling. This 2021 Cup champion drank his pint in 13.14 seconds.
going into pot A,
Toes!
is Caswell and the Caswell Men. Our first ever Cup champion drank his pint in 13.5 seconds. And nearly threw it all out right at the end.
Heading into pot Boo! B is our first newcomer to appear. It's Lukey D and the Donovan's Dons. He drank his pint in 13.54 seconds and has a nice doggy.
In 15th place and heading into pot C,
Senor.
is Jared and the High Ground Madrid. Whilst doing his best Darth Vader impression, he drank his pint in 14.12 seconds.
Going into pot D is our next newcomer this season, Connor and Pneumothorax. He drank his pint in 14.44 seconds.
Next up and heading into pot E,
Mouth.
is Jet and Jet's champs. Ironically, they've won nothing yet, even with that lovely little dance. His pint time was bang on 15 seconds.
Heading into F,
Pop Fitzgerald,
another former cup winner, Ollie, and somehow he's managed to draft Haaland for the second season in a row, 15.58 seconds. Joining his fellow Premier League managers in pot A, it's last season's championship winners, Payne and the Payne Trains. He drank his pint in 16.52 seconds.
opting for a measuring jug instead of a pint glass, and heading into pot
Boom!
B, it's Dan and the Arsenal Bottle Jobs. He drank his pint in 19.14 seconds.
And it looked like it tasted like beans. Heading into pot C,
Senor,
with Bridget and her Bart ladies. How does it taste?
Tastes horrible.
This former league champion necked their pint with a new personal best, 24.44 seconds.
heading into pot D, is another former league winner, Simon and his mighty Psyducks. He drank his pint during a Spurs game. It took him 31.32 seconds.
Heading into pot E,
Mouth,
with some very sped up footage, it's Norman and the Norminaires. He took a lot of breaks, 35.04 seconds.
taking the penultimate place in F,
Pot Fitzgerald.
is another newcomer this season, Jamal and his Jammy Bastards. Currently they sit top of the Conference League and eventually drank their pint in 35.34 seconds.
Completing pot A,
Dos.
it's George and his new rebranded Bruno Dos Tres. He'll be the only non-Premier League team in that pot. Let's hope he gets on a bit better there than he did with his pint, 41.14 seconds.
Taking the final place in pot
Boo!
B,
Why?
it's Harps and Kindle and Bueno. How long has it been, Jet?
Fucking hell, it's nearly been a minute.
Heading into pot C,
Senor,
it's newcomer Jake and setting the bar low, and boy did he with this pint time. Eventually finding some rhythm, he drank his pint in 48.12 seconds.
the final place in pot D goes to our final newcomer, Jav, and his team, the Theatre of Dreamers.
He managed to find a pint glass the same size as his head somehow.
50.16 seconds.
And now with our favourite entry of the season and heading into pot E,
Mouth.
it's Chris and I've Jota Semi. He opted to neck his pint shot by shot and still somehow didn't manage to finish last. It took him 50.44 seconds.
In last place, it's our current reigning and defending James and Son Cup champion, Vlad and the Big Bad Man. We've sped up this footage 7 times, because it really did take that long. 77.56 seconds to be exact, and they take final place in F.
Pot Fitzgerald. So let's take a final look at the pots then. Pot A features 2 former cup champions, the Golden Bulls and the Caswell Men. This opening group also hosts 2 more Ross Barkley's Premier League teams, the Caliente Royales and the Payne Trains.
Taking the final spot in the pot is Benrahma Conference League team Bruno Dos Tres, making this a top division dominated group. Moving swiftly on to pot B, FPL rivals McSauce feature in this mix and match of Championship and Conference League teams.
Newcomers Donovan's Dons will have to try and keep up with fellow Midlands teams, the Arsenal Bottle Jobs and Kinder and Bueno. On to pot C.
Senor!
We have 2 former league champions in Kai Hard with a Vengeance and the Bart Ladies. They are the probable favourites here.
Championship sides Fart Factory and High Ground Madrid will have to compete with newcomers setting the bar low for every available point. Now on to pot D. 3 league winners and 2 newbies make up potentially the most lopsided group. Last season's Conference League champions, the Billionaire Ballers, will finally clash with the Barty Party in a long-anticipated matchup.
The mighty Psyducks, along with newcomers Pneumothorax and the Theatre of Dreamers, will hope to scavenge from their remains. On to pot E.
Mouth.
It's former cup winners United. They are joined by I've Jota Semi and a collection of relative rookies.
Joining them, newly promoted Championship side, the Albens, along with Conference League teams Jet Champs and the Norminators making up the rest of the group. And finally, on to F.
Pot Fitzgerald.
The reigning James and Son Cup champions, the Big Bad Man, will defend their title from the final group, joined by 2 other former cup winners, and Can I Feel It?
This group of death looks a tricky place to be for Solanke Loos and newcomers Jammy Bastards. So there we have it. The group stage draw is done. Matches will begin in game week 9
and end in game week 13. Good luck!
James and Sons theme song. 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 The James and Sons theme song. James and Sons theme song. James and Sons theme song, James and Sons theme song.